I'm Oksana Goodman, and today I would like to talk to you about mental health awareness, especially this week, because this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and about 16 million people worldwide diagnosed with mental health issues. Today we'll be speaking with Deepak Saha, as we're both members of Speakers Institute. Deepak, you have been diagnosed with bipolar for nearly 20 years. So would you like to tell me more about your journey?
Thank you, Oksana. Well, this journey, I was diagnosed back home about 20 years back. And roughly, I was completely excluded by society, where I was completely rejected. Like many people are still suffering from it daily. And I felt the rejection, and I was lacking the affection and also a warmth from people. And because, with medication and you put on weight and you suffer from a big stigma, even from your loved ones. And this has caused a big impact on me. And I'm very proud to say, well, it's just like only with a wrong medication I was prescribed back in Mauritius. And after nearly 5 years, I should say, be honest, when I came back where I am today in Perth, and the medication changed, and my whole life changed. And sharing my journey to you today, and not only to you, but to the whole world, the only medication that provides you that happiness is what provides the love, and that I've received unconditionally today.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Deepak. Can I ask you a little bit more? So what happened in back then at home in Mauritius? How did you actually get started on wrong medication?
Well, the journey started just a week before Easter, and that was my last year of high school. And I remember I was dancing in class, and I was having a mad crush with someone, but I never had a crush. But it's just so weird and funny that I went to a deputy headmaster's office. I was called there, and I saw my mom and my grandfather was sitting down, and no smile at all. And mom brought me back home, but on our way, she brought me to our family doctor, and the family doctor said he couldn't do anything. And my grandfather said that he had a friend who was a psychiatrist, and he came in because he was living right near to our place, and he came in and gave us, like we say in French, some reconfort, which means like some words, like he can do something. Then he called his friend because he doesn't practice anymore, and we went to his friend's place the next morning with my dad and my mom. We went to a doctor's place, and the doctor, as you remember, beautiful house, beautiful settings, but he had a very stern look, and he started to prescribe to me a trial and error of medication that has had a big impact on my whole health. And instead of being happy, positive energy that I was holding back, but it was more like something which has destroyed my way of thinking. And I was more like in a way that some people were more scared to approach me. And that journey, really, I had only one friend. I always say I had only one friend. It was Sharky, my little doggy, my mom bought. And Sharky spent her time sleeping with me and giving me her words of wisdom by just talking to me on her ears. And that was more a comfort. and that's but we didn't discover the wrong medication, because after like years afterwards, like now, like 5 years back only, I'm nearly 40s now, but one of the things that I just realized, life goes on, and today I'm doing different things. I'm working in finance, and also I'm just also training to be a professional speaker back in Sydney. And also, I've encountered thousands of people, including yourself, Oksana, today. And like in our journey that we started, both of us, with the Speaker Institute, and despite we're different states, like you're in South Australia, I'm in Western Australia, but it's a beautiful journey. And the love that I'm receiving, I have to say sometimes I can't handle, but it's a beautiful thing.
That's beautiful. Well, just going back a little bit, to say that, so when you've been put on medication, and that's really affected your friendship, your overall, your school, your every day-to-day life, and you didn't, I suppose it was really difficult for you. Was it quite lonely and isolating? Is that how you felt?
Do you know, like, I was very much hurt. I was hurt, like I said to you in the beginning, you put on weight with medication, and the way you're not, because depression, mental illness, anyone can have it. Anyone can have it at any time of the day. And I was more like, in a way, hurt in a way that people went through, and they were told different stories about it, and distorted stories. So I was always like given the wrong names. Despite my name is Deepak, but I was called different names. Whether I went to be looked after, I went to the hospital or anything. Just to be clear with it also, I've never been to any hospital. The only hospital that I went was with my mom and my dad. And they just gave me, at that time my grandparents were here in this world, and it was their love, because it's just like their love they provided together with my sister who came in from England. But it's sad to see people to be called different names, because it's still like, despite like mental health awareness has been like for ages, for years and decades, but still like in our modern age, people have a wrong way of thinking of it. It's better to accept it and also provide, to be a provider of unconditional love.
So when you came to Australia, and how happened that you were lucky to see a doctor who changed your medication? Is that correct?
When I came to Australia, in 2002, and I didn't share that part of a story. That when I came to Australia in 2002, I still remember in July, it was winter time in Perth, and my mom, well, she came with me to settle me. He continued the doctor that I had before, and he continued that treatment, the same medication that I was taking back in Mauritius. So he didn't bother to ask any questions, like specific questions about the medication or anything that's like Aussie medications or anything. But he continued that treatment. He continued to, and that's what was getting worse, because once you're away from your comfort zone, it was getting worse. It was getting worse.
So how did you come across to new treatment? How did you break that? Break that?
I was very lucky in one, when I just like 5 years back, I mean, I'll say 6 years back, I went back, went to England, and I went to visit my sister, who just gave birth to her third baby. And my uncle and my auntie back shared with me, said to me, because they knew about all the stuff that I was going through, and suggested to me, why don't I change doctor, and because I changed my suburb for different reasons. And so I just came in the north, and just to have a check. And one of my very close friends, that I won't disclose her name, in the gym, said to me, she knows a very good doctor, and she can bring me.
Excellent.
And from that part, so I went through that doctor, and he wasn't happy about this medication, and in fact he changed it, and where I am today. And just remember one thing: medication is only 20% of your recovery, but
That's
the
right.
love that I'm receiving, not only from the Speakers Institute, but also from everyone here, it's what makes you a better person. You feel that part of it. Sans
That's true.
appartenance, like we say in French. You feel it. You feel that. And that's the growth. Like today, Oksana and I were talking about it, sharing it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I do agree with you that we recognize, of course, that people around us, but when we try to connect with like-minded people who understand us and we can talk about it, that's really, really changing our world. Is that right? Because that's how I feel. When you find like-minded people who are the same wave with you, that makes you feel understood and makes you feel accepted.
I think the connection that both of us, Oksana, it was we met in 1 minute. We got connected, and
that's right.
We got connected in 1 minute. I remember in Gold Coast, and you knew my history, and you shared your history with me. But we got connected. It's a beautiful thing.
That's right.
If you share your being honest to people,
that's
and
true.
you take time to have faith also on your intuition, then you can just grow. And also, just remember one thing. Like myself and Oksana, like we're talking today, I'm not going to put this in details. You're not my doctor. I'm not your doctor, but we are friends. But we support each other. We can just be like not worshipping each other, but at least we can bring that light in the tunnel.
That's right.
We have our own life. We have our own issues to handle daily, or but at the end of the day, you know that there's a bond between. But now what's happening for me in my life also, many people are coming like this to me because they are seeing the difference what I was before. I can talk, and also I can smile, because I'm not going to judge you. And also, let me bring the concept of smiling that I brought to people, some people. If you don't smile, you're not happy. There's something hidden. And don't think that you have to blame the other person. Okay, he's racist or anything. You have to provide your effort in life.
That's true. That's true. That's beautiful. Thank you. It's such a beautiful journey you're sharing, what you're going through, and what you've been through, and how wonderful it's changed your life, which is fantastic. And I just know that you've gone quite well with sharing your story, sharing your journey as well. I know you've got your own website. Is that right? DeepakSaha.com?
Yeah. I have just started my doing on like we're doing today our first podcast together, and I think what I've just I don't think, but I've just developed my website deepaksaha.com, and I'm going to start working on different things just to provide that energy to people and.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Because you can share your journey with others, and they can see hope as well. How you overcome your hurdles, and it helps others.
I think it's a matter of just putting in your mind that you can do it, and if you can, you can't just break yourself in pieces thinking society is against you. Like I felt it. Maybe society wasn't against me 20 years back, but I felt it. This is my story.
So would you say, yes, we can all be angry and at everyone, but at the end of the day, we have to give forgiveness because we are all in charge of our own destiny. We're in charge of our lives day to day. We decide how we feel. Is that right? It makes us how we feel. It's also part of how we choose to feel. Is that right? Would you agree with that?
I think for me, for myself, like 20 years back, when people just rejected me like a society, I went back to my home country, Mauritius, in December, and it's impressive to see the unconditional love. And on this word of apologies, and I think there's no apology in it, but I think it's forgiving. But one of my growth has allowed me to be more, in a way, to be resilient and also to be one of the examples. I won't say Australian-wide or Mauritian-wide, but I think it's worldwide because you have to be resilient on it. And people are going to continue sharing you words on it, but you have just not to fight with it, but you have to explain to them, have a good time, explain to them in very simple words, but they understand what is depression, because depression is part of a mental health illness. It's part of a family. It's not like a problem, but it's going to be, you have to just break, like leaders worldwide, like, I won't mention names, but you know it, have suffered from depression. But where they are today, we have a most genius. And
especially nowadays with the situation we are, pandemic, lots of people finding themselves in a situation they've never been. They felt isolated, they felt confused, they don't know where, how to, these new feelings. And it is also could be part of depression, unrecognized, because if you haven't experienced that before.
I think it's the world is it's just like it's an unknown journey that people are going through. But let me just share to you one word. If you smile to it, it's important because it's just like the unknown journey.
Yes.
It's your mental state that has to work. I know thousands of people are have lost their work or their life, their loved ones or anything, or businesses. But it's a matter not to be crying on it or to be grumpy on it. But I think it's true. Like someone said to me once, you have to stand up. Stand up. And the way you stand up, you uplift your confidence. And this is what I do every day. I just like, so I just like, today I'm so pleased to share to one of my closest friends today, Oksana, about my story. And it's just a start. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. That's excellent. Just one more question I would like to ask you. I know that you're calling your journey from Eeyore to Tigger.
Oh, I forgot to mention him.
Tell me what the association with all this, and how do you see the difference?
Well, I'm sorry I didn't mention about Eeyore and Tigger. Thanks, Oksana. So. I'm part of a journey as a professional speaker, and I had to find a natural name, an original name for my story. And I remember one of, the senior mentors, like Sam, and said to me that Sam Corton, back in Speakers Institute, said to me, it has to be 4 to 5 words. And I said it was going to be very hard for me to put his same word, like he's written in several books. And so I came in to the name of my story, which is going to be from, like myself, I was Eeyore 20 years back, 20 years back, Eeyore in to Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. And Eeyore was always like, he was very slow, he wasn't doing anything, and he was, so I was an Eeyore, and today I'm so proud to say, from your blessing, everyone, it's Tigger. So I'm a Tigger on that story. So also
the
from
bouncy and happy, and I love that. I love that association. That's
Four
really
words.
stick to my
So-
head. Yeah, I can see it clearly from
so
the EO
to Tiger.
to Tigger. Yeah, that's a really cool, because Tigger is bouncy and happy, and Eeyore was walking around and
He wasn't
very
doing.
sad.
What was me? What was me? Oksana, what was me? Just me.
That's
Picture me.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So we can almost call you
And-
Deepak the Tigger.
And also
Yeah.
the funny part of it is that I'm sharing this to you and also to
Yeah.
to our friends listening to us today. And I'm also writing a book about it. So
Oh, fantastic.
from
This
Eeyore
is
to
great.
Tigger to about and sharing you this journey that in a way it's a very positive book. It's sort of like more giving you some ideas of how can you frame yourself, and that I went from that withdrawn and I was obese and was always paranoid and today
Yeah.
where I'm just full of myself.
Well, that's amazing that you're going to put all your actually personal journey through personal journey, how you came from Eeyore to Tigger, but you also will share how you overcome all this and a day-to-day, obviously helpful.
I want to provide in a way that
steps for people we can
I mean,
take there.
I think people have just. I think it's important that people just bring in a way they see. Not like I'm trying to blow myself. It's just like to see. It's always like your favorite word, Oksana. There's hope,
That's true.
and
That's true.
you don't try to bring hope, but also put it in reality.
That's
And you're not alone in that journey. If you need anything, I'm proposing myself. I've already said it to everyone, and I'm sending myself. I want to teach not only Australia, not in Mauritius, but I want to teach the whole world about this big problem, and also to provide myself in a way as a coach, to provide them the steps in a way that they have to go through. Thank you.
That's fantastic. That's really inspirational. And I just would like to say that we're really looking forward to reading your book when it's done. Fantastic. Good luck with that. And also, if any of the listeners would like to chat to you or maybe ask questions,
Feel
what would
free.
be the best to? Can they approach you through your website? Is that the best way to find?
Well, we
or
put
ask questions?
once like the talk is over, it's going to be online, and you can just put it, ask question on Facebook. You can just ask questions, and feel free to share it. And there's no copyright issues in it. And just going to bring in a way that people have to feel free. And I'm not someone who's going to be. I have an open door policy.
That's beautiful.
My door
That's
is
really
open.
important.
My door is
really
open because the sun is shining for everyone. Let it shine for everyone. Not only you feel that okay.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you, Deepak, for sharing your beautiful.
Thanks, Oksana. It was a pleasure to do the first icebreaker with us.
That's good. That's good. And I'm sure there'll be many more we can hear from you, and we'll be watching your journey, you evolving, and looking forward to your book as well. Great. Thank you, Deepak.
Thanks,
you have a
Oksana.
lovely day.
Thanks.